Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Daily, presented to you by FanArch. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, author of The Voices of Hockey, Broadcasters Reflect on the Fastest Game on Earth, a book that is available in audio format on Apple Books or on Audible. Check it out. On Apple Books, it's $9.99. On Audible, it's about $16 or $17 with your membership. If you don't have a membership, get the free trial and get the book for free. Just saying. 12 hours, 65 NHL play-by-play broadcasters, past and present, talking about 35 NHL teams, past and present. Grab your copy today, folks. Now, I am 2,454 miles from Little Caesars Arena, tucked away here in the Pacific Northwest. Speaking of Little Caesars Arena, it is about time, but the Red Wings are finally back in action tonight at LCA. Those lights are going to go back on, and the ice sheet's going to read Red Wings for the first time in a while, and they're taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, this is basically, since it's a West Coast team, this is only the second, and it is the final meeting between these two. The first one went Vegas's way. It was a 1-0 shutout. It was Schmid, basically. I'm going to butcher his first name if I'm not already butchering his second. But Schmid, this was his first career shutout, and unfortunately it was against us. It was a pretty well-fought game. I think the Wings felt like they could have handled that game better maybe and actually gotten the scores going, but they were shut down pretty good. Another thing to think about from that game, though, it was the last of I believe it was a 6-game road trip, either 6 or 5, and they were amidst basically a 3-game losing streak at that time. They're playing a little bit, I don't want to say better, but I know that Las Vegas is playing a lot worse than they were playing at that time. Vegas is basically just been one of those teams that you're just like, they're in first place. It's a very bad division over there in the Pacific, and I've already been talking about Edmonton really tuning it up because I think that it's kind of, with all the injuries, which I will talk about in just a second, with all the injuries that Vegas is going through right now, it's kind of become anybody's game, including Anaheim or Edmonton, to really get that Pacific division and take the reins on it and maybe ride off into the sunset with the crown of that division. But Vegas, basically, it's going to be hard to read these names because I know some of them, but one thing for sure, Mark Stone is usually injured this time of year. This is almost like an annual occurrence, and sometimes he just gets healthy enough right in time for the playoffs. 3 years ago he did, and they won the Stanley Cup. He got a hat trick in Game 5, the clincher for the Knights, but you can almost count on Mark Stone to be going through some kind of injury this time of year. Only problem is he started off the year with a pretty long stint on the IR as well. So he's one that is not quite on the IR, but he sustained but he sustained an injury the other day, and he was out last night against Buffalo. So he may or may not be back in action tonight. But I know who won't be on the ice for Vegas is Holtz, Ronsberg, Howden, Hart, and Wild Bill himself, William Karlsson. Those are all that are on the IR. So no wonder Vegas is kind of faltering right now. You know, with Wild Bill and with Mark Stone out, that's a recipe for, I don't want to say disaster, because, you know, you got Marner, you got Eichel. I mean, Eichel, to me, I know a lot of people are going to take exception to this, but I say Eichel is a top 3 player in the NHL personally. Just the skill level on this guy and the way he's able to set up plays. Who wouldn't want them in their corner? But also, you got Eichel, Marner, you got Shea Theodore on defense. You got a lot of stars on this team. But like I said, having Wild Bill and Mark Stone out of that lineup, that's some chemistry that is very lacking and creates a huge hole in the team. So advantages, basically, let's look at it. First, basically the offense, the advantage goes to VGK. Goals against average, the advantage goes to Detroit. Penalty kill, advantage goes to VGK. And power play, advantage goes to VGK. And so the one thing I am kind of hopefully counting on is the fact that this is the second of a back-to-back for Golden Knights. And I'm hoping that maybe we can jump on them pretty early tonight, the same way that Buffalo jumped on them really early in yesterday's game. So that's one thing that I feel like maybe Detroit has to their advantage, is that Vegas is at the tail end of a long and pretty abusive road trip that hasn't gone so well for them. I don't want to say it was a long. I mean, we all just went back into action just 8 days ago. But if you consider the fact that they really haven't been coming into their own here against the East and been jumping into pretty deep holes pretty quick in the game. That's what you hope that the Red Wings are able to do and put them up against the ropes pretty quick and leave it up to Gibby, which I'm guessing Gibby is probably going to be healthy enough to be in the net for the Wings. But if not, they can jump ahead and give Taubes a good solid lead to work with. Hopefully he can fend them off the way he fended off Nashville. So today is Wednesday, which means it is hump day, which means it is over the hump. And it's time to sit there and ask ourselves, are the Red Wings over a certain hump? Now, this is one of those questions I like to ask. Sometimes I ask if they're doing, if they're over the hump of basically being able to win an emotional game and then follow that up with a win. Well, now it's just take emotional out of it. Are they able to win a game and then follow that up with the win? So are they able to win 2 games in a row? It has been 10 games since the Red Wings have won 2 straight. Okay, so that it presents in and of itself a problem. We're sitting at 3rd right now, possibly even in danger of being back down to 4th if we lose tonight. But still, that shift has been happening because we have not strung up consecutive victories I like to say in over a month, because it really has been over a month, but still 10 games without having back-to-back wins. That is something that we are looking to get past right now. Just looking, the last time that we won our 2nd game in a row was January 21st at Toronto in overtime. And looking on chat boards a lot this year, I was looking at it for the Vegas Golden Knights because they keep losing in overtime or in shootouts. I believe they've lost 14 games overall, and that's why their record is just so abysmal. And they're still in first place, and you sit there and scratch your head. Yeah, it's because they've gotten 14 games that are losses, but they've still walked away with 14 points. But still, these chat rooms, and they've been sitting there saying, well, if 90 points will get you into the playoffs. Well, maybe in the West, but not here in the East, because the Red Wings are sitting at 76 points right now. And this is what I have to say about that. There's 21 games left to go. If we were to only win 7 games of these 21, or a combination of 14 points over these next 21 games, that does not get us into the playoffs right now, folks. I tell you right now, if we were to go 7-14, 6-12-4, 6-12-2, whatever, any of that, any combination of that lands us at 90 points, that is not getting us in. That may be good enough for Pacific Division leading Golden Knights and stuff like that, but not for the Atlantic Division right now, as competitive as it is. When you look at it, and the reason I bring that up is because I believe, with 21 games to go, you're looking at one of those 2-to-1 ratio of wins to losses that really puts you in the driver's seat to make it to the playoffs. Not half and half may get it done, but a lot of times you really aren't doing win-loss, 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 win-loss. You're going to be stumbling a couple times and looking to catch up with it and make up in the aggregate. So I see that as a possible stumbling block for us in our quest to get to the playoffs. The fact that we need to start winning back-to-back games. And we can start tonight beating the Golden Knights, because then we're going to be up against Florida, and you never know what you can get out of Florida. And then we start having some of these more competitive games against teams like Pittsburgh and Boston and Montreal. And we're going to play Tampa Bay again. We're going to play Florida 3 more times, and they might give us hell all 3 times. So getting a consecutive win, giving more than 1 win in a row, those are things that can kind of lift us and lift our spirits and get the optimism back in, and maybe shift us up the standings a little bit, go from the 3rd or 4th spot in the Atlantic up to the 2nd, and keep that standing, and kind of leave it in the hands of the others to maybe get a loss or overtime loss. We get the 2 to their 1. Those are the kinds of things that will inch us that much closer into the playoff bubble, and we'll find ourselves sitting within it after game 82. Now, on Monday, Detroit beat Nashville 4-2 in that early game, and Nashville lost as well on Tuesday to Columbus. And I did notice in the trade room, basically yesterday there were 2 transactions going out of Nashville. Here we go. So I kind of feel like that loss to the Red Wings on Monday may have put the nail in the coffin because a lot of these transactions were already taking place before they even played Tuesday night. Or should I say a lot of them. There's 2 transactions as far as the Predators go. So yesterday on the trading board, basically, forward Cole Smith goes to the Golden Knights. so we might be seeing this product of Nashville over into the Vegas Golden Knights. Basically, they gave Chris Sadoff and a 3rd round pick for 2 years from now for this Cole Smith. So there's one forward out of Nashville. Second forward going out of Nashville, Michael McCarron. This is one that a lot of people have been talking about on the trading room floor. So Michael McCarron going out, and what do they get for him? Oh, this is obviously going, but by the way, this is going to the Wild. So the Wild get Michael McCarron, and what do they give up? A 2nd round pick in the 2028 draft. Practically nothing for a player like that. So it's like the Predators are dealing and the Wild are cashing in. This is the second. I mean, I don't want to say this is a big transaction or a big acquisition for the Wild, but it is a notable one. Obviously, Quinn Hughes was the big one of the season so far for the Wild especially. But don't put it past Michael McCarron. This is actually a good pickup for the Wild, and now they've got Kaprizov, they've got Matt Boldy, who has shown what he can do in the Olympics, as well as on the ice in Minnesota, and just the points these guys are putting up. And not just those 2, but like I said, Quinn Hughes is out there now, and Zuccarello's another one. Some of these players that are always accountable, or you can count on them to get a point here or there. And one that I want to mention because he was not very good for us last year. He seems to kind of go where he goes, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It seems like it's working a little bit though, but that's Vladimir Tarasenko. He's on the Wild, and he's factoring in. I mean, he's not putting up the numbers that Kaprizov and Boldy are putting up, but nobody expects them to. He's a long-age veteran, but he is still contributing more points, and I think he probably even has more points than Kaner does for us. I don't want to besmirch or badmouth Kaner. I love him, but I'm just saying Tarasenko didn't factor in that well for us last year when we had him. It was kind of like a rental, and it was a rental that didn't do well. And obviously he's doing a little bit better for Minnesota. They're to me, I look at them, and maybe that's why Colorado's dealing what they are, because they're afraid of Minnesota, because Minnesota is one of those sleeping giants. And I do feel that Minnesota is going to factor in more in the playoffs, even more so than Dallas. And they may be that team to take Colorado off that summit right there during the playoffs. Maybe not in the regular season. They might not catch them in the division to win that division. Maybe they could. They're not too far behind them. There's still plenty enough hockey left to play, and they're tuning up for a deep playoff run, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it. So that's just basically what's been going on. Just those 2 moves yesterday, both players going out of Nashville, one to Vegas and one to Minnesota. Trade deadline is still 3 days away. Well, 2 days away, basically, from today. So we may see a crazy day tomorrow on the market floor. We may not. I don't know. I'm expecting it. It usually is on the last day before the deadline. There usually is a ton going on. But so far, it's been quiet as far as our office goes. And that leads me to the last segment of today, just talking about our rookie, Emmett Finney. He got a goal the other night against Nashville. He got the opening goal, and it was fed to him by Marco and Appy. So just looking at Finney, I said yesterday in yesterday's show about Big Rass and how they're kind of showcasing him, giving him more minutes and kind of getting him in the spotlight a little bit more, so that maybe some other teams take an interest in him and there might get some action on the phone for him to go somewhere else and us to get something, whether it be a pick or whether it be an actual player. In the meantime, I don't see that happening with Finney. I don't see the Yzerman letting go of Finns. He's a rookie. He's at 10 goals right now. He's not as explosive as he was to start the season, but they are working him around in different lines just to see how how he fans out. And right now, he's been basically dropped down to the fourth line there with Appy and Marco, and he's on the left wing. He was as a center basically on the second line there with Kaner. Kaner was his right wing, and I'm not sure if it was DeBrincat was his left, but yeah, Finney was on a line with Kaner there and was on a power play unit with him too. Now he's not on any of the power play units. He's not on any penalty kill units. He was actually at 11 minutes and 31 seconds of ice time on Monday. So it's not like we are utilizing him a lot, but I just want to keep in mind the fact that maybe that's just showing that we're looking to hang on to him and see where we factor him in. I don't see Yzerman dealing him off for anybody, but I do see Yzerman dealing off somebody like Big Rass, especially since it's already been kind of, ringing the fire alarms over there on the social media boards and chat rooms saying that, here goes Yzerman showcasing Big Rass to these other teams. And that very well may be what's going on. But I don't think that's going on with Finney. I think we got him for the long haul, and I don't see him going down to Grand Rapids or anything anytime soon. I hopefully he factors in this run wherever we put him, but it looks like they want to put him on the left wing right now on that fourth line, which I don't know. I don't know if I don't want to call it safe or anything like that. It just seems like it's subtle. Playing time's a little down because of that, but at least he might not be on his way out the door. Folks, this has been the show. Tomorrow we will recap tonight's game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Tomorrow's Throwback Thursday, so we'll have a little bit of a blast from the past in Red Wings history. We'll see what else is going on that last day before the trade deadline arrives on Friday. Until then, this has been Red Wings Daily. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, LGRW from the PNW.